Class, today you're going to learn about the magic wand tool, which is this one here, and the quick selection tool, which is this one. A little less predictable, but it could be helpful in certain situations. You have prepared for you a file of silhouettes of runners. They are in all sorts of positions of running, and if you zoom in on them, if you make them as big as I'd like you to make them, 11 by 17, you'll notice that there are some blurry edges because we resized and it's kind of a pixelated thing. If I want to select all of this black area, I've got to click on it with the magic wand tool, and you'll notice that there's a blurry edge of gray pixels in between the black and the white that isn't part of the selection. So if you change the tolerance from 20, I guess it defaults to 32, but right now I have it at 23. If you change it to 54, if you click inside of a selection, it'll deselect that, and try it again. Click, and you'll see it grabbed a few more of those pixels. If we up the tolerance to 79, even better. Now that's getting a little bit more of what I was expecting. You can tell that this black pixel pathway continued from this runner to this runner to this runner. And the same thing will happen if you're highlighting anything else, selecting a pair of shoes, for instance. And if I wanted to, make sure these were all the same color, or even if I wanted to cut them out and put them on different backgrounds, if I wanted this lady to be on a separate background, I would need to fine-tune this selection, maybe with a lasso tool, to deselect all the other bits of it. So if I'm subtracting this, I might just kind of guess where her heel does something like that and go back up and around, remove that. Same with the ankle. It looks like there might be a bit of a shoe that happens there. So let's say that's her. And if I press 0, I can quickly Control 0, sorry, quickly hold down Alt, subtract the rest of this stuff out of that selection. And I can Control C, copy that, and Control V, just paste it on its own new layer, so that I can do with it what I need to, and still keep her ankle is included in this runner's running. So if I just press, if I go back to this layer 3 layer, use my magic wand tool again. This time I'll select this guy, this woman out of it. So holding Alt, let's get rid of that. And the only reason I'm doing this is to kind of fine tune the, okay, so that's their foot, or his foot. Get rid of all that. And then we're gonna have to do the same thing over here. So you could see these two characters on their own can be moved distinctly now, but if we zoom in on them, you'll notice that they still have that halo of gray blur around them that we'd like to get rid of for the sake of making them separate colors. If I wanted to make them a color now, let's say I use the paint bucket tool on layer 7 in this kind of mint blue kind of color, we'd still have this gray edge. And you can change that with tolerance, but I don't think I'm ever going to be totally satisfied with it. I'd like to work with it and get the shape all one color before I mess around with tolerance. One way to do that is to go to the filter kind of gallery and click on adjustments. You can posterize it or you can threshold it. Thresholding means taking all of the pixels that these are all the black pixels. There's tons of them. These are all the pixels that are 75% gray, 50% gray, 25% gray, and perfectly white. None were actually perfectly white. So if I take this little white marker, I say, okay, all of my white pixels are actually going to be where the black ones were, or almost black. Then you get this kind of funny leoparding. But I'm now creeping all of those middle grays and light grays are now becoming more and more black, and I'm going to continue to do so until they are. And press OK. So I've got my shape that will be much easier to fill now and much easier to select. If I use my lasso tool, you'll see it goes all the way around and includes everything, and even if I have it on a much lower tolerance, it'll do the same. So that's one strategy. Same thing with this guy. If I wanted to posterize him, just show you what that looks like. The filter, let's make sure I'm the right layer. The filter gallery will let you posterize something into levels of pixels. So it kind of breaks everything down into only 4 types of color. 2 pixels will make it either white or black. And if I can get rid of the white on that layer, that's fine with me. That would involve going to maybe use my lasso tool, click on that white pixel, and deleting it. Now the reason I'm showing you this is so that you can get used to using this magic wand tool to highlight large areas of similar pixel images and or areas in an image. So if we use, let's just turn the visibility off of these layers, Control D to deselect. Let's look at this shoe. If I'm going to select this Nike swoosh, my first instinct is to use the magic wand tool. Oops, wrong layer. It is going to be easy, I think, to select that area, and I adjust my tolerance until I get a good selection. I can zoom in to see whether that's adequate, but there might be some spots that I miss. In those cases, feel free to use the polygonal lasso tool or whichever tool you're comfortable with or feel like it would be smart to use to finish making that selection. You can also refine the edge of any selection tool. If you click on Refine Edge and expand that, you'll see the pixels grow to inhabit the space that you'd like, hopefully, them to fill up. And press OK, and you can add more after that too. So hold down Shift to continue adding back to your beginning point. Hopefully you end up with something you're satisfied with. From there, you can enhance the lighting, the color. If you wanted to change the tone here to something a little more warm, less shocking, decrease the saturation. You can change the lightness and darkness and do whatever you want to it. So the lasso tool can assist you with fine-tuning your magic wand tool selections. Magic wand selection for this area might be easy. If we bring down the tolerance, even further, what I would be looking for is just grabbing this type of gray, and I can hold down Shift to add more and more to it until hopefully I've got the outline that I'm looking for. Even within a selection, you can change the tolerance and increase that to get what you need. Control Z if that happens. And you can refine the edge, of course, as well. Anti-alias usually is on, and that helps you smooth things out. Now there are times when you want a broad area, but it has different pixel contrasts within it. So let's say I want to select the front of this shoe, but my magic wand tool isn't going to do a great job of getting all of this contrast and this type of gray and all these little beads of or holes where the stitching went through. So the quick selection tool might come in handy. What you need to do with that is just click and drag, and Photoshop will kind of assume what you want to have selected. You can go close to areas and reduce the brush size by pressing the left or right square bracket and refine your selection. Now you can see that Photoshop has begun to assume that I want some of this black. That's because I got close enough to it. If I hold Alt, I can also eliminate some of that as well. So holding spacebar to drag myself around. I might want to get rid of this portion as well, but add this by holding Shift. And it kind of in some weird way just kind of tries to think, well, what does that Mr. Wukash want? And hold down Alt to take some of that away. Wherever you're along the edge there. And here. And after you have that selection, you can modify it in whatever way you want, including in a new layer, filling it with any color you want. So there's lots of options for you there. So now that you know how to use the magic wand tool and the quick selection tool, there's the selection brush tool as well. I'll let you explore that. You want to create a collage of different running themed things. I've already posterized layer 4, layer 6. I can show you how that looks on here. If you go to the filter gallery, posterize that to 4 levels, or I'm going to go 2 because I'm going to change what these are going to be like. On this layer 6, I can highlight areas, and just to make sure I get all the black all at once, I can, on layer 6, I can go to select and similar, and that should grab all of the pixels all around there that are of that color, and I can adjust it to some other color. In fact, I'll just use the brush, increase the size of that significantly, and replace that Control D to deselect with the brush tool. So you can create a really cool collage. You're going to be adding lots of different colors to each of these different characters that you've got in there, or shapes, and you've got some selection tools to learn with. So off you go.